Hi, I'm Ed from Stencil1, and this is my friend Delinda.
Hi.
Today we're going to show you how to create this cool wallpaper pattern effect using one stencil from my new book, Stencil101 Decor by Chronicle Books.
It's gonna be fun.
Let's get started.
Yay.
Okay, the first thing you'll need is sandpaper to smooth your wall down, and spackle if you have any holes in your wall to patch it up. Then you're going to need a paint kit, which is a tray and a roller to paint the base color of your wall. And of course you'll need the wall paint. Then once that dries, we're going to move on, and this is the stuff you'll need to stencil. Of course you'll need a stencil. This is the design we'll be using today from the book. You'll need stencil brushes to stencil the paint on. Stencil paint, which is a flat wall paint that comes in these small jars at most of your paint shops now. A glass dish to put the paint on. A pencil to mark your registration marks. A level if you are that concerned about everything being nice and even. A measuring tape to plan out your design. Some paint tape to also mark your registration marks. A foam brush to do some touch-up at the end, paper towels for cleanup, and some scrap cardboard paper or poster board to practice on first, which is essential.
This is the surface that you've patched up,
yes,
and sandpapered any imperfections. What kind of paint did you use?
I used a flat latex wall paint. You can use, and it's a flat finish. But you can use a semi-gloss, you can even use a gloss, but just consult with your paint shop. We're going to use this stencil today. It's the quatrefoil design. I hope you guys can see it at home. It's clear, but it's been used before, so maybe you can see it all. And the key to making your pattern on the wall are these little registration marks in the corner. There's 4 triangles.
So this makes it easy to line up the stencil
right
along the wall.
Yes, and it's triangular in shape so that you trace the whole triangle out when you're marking your registrations, okay, so that everything will really line up equally. I'll show you. We'll start at the top left.
Okay.
The first thing you should do is, some people have crooked walls, so you want to use a level to make sure your stencil is level. And using a pencil, you're going to fill in the triangular shaped registration marks on the entire wall, like so. But now I'm going to also show you another way to do this so that you don't have all these pencil marks on your wall if you don't feel like erasing them all or covering them up with paint when you're done. You line up your triangles from the first step with your second step. If you don't want to deal with getting rid of all these registration marks on your wall, the best way to mark your marks are to put a piece of tape under the stencil before you make your registration mark. Draw the registration mark on the blue tape, and this way, at the end, you're just peeling off the tape, and you don't have to deal with covering all these little marks.
That's great too, because then when you're painting the stencil, the paint won't actually bleed through the registration mark, so it serves 2 purposes. That's so smart.
Where are you thinking?
Yeah. You've got your whole grid set out, and now we're ready to stencil.
We are ready. Okay, Dee. Before we get started on the wall, I always say practice on cardboard or poster board first. So let's, it's a dry brush technique. You don't need a lot of paint to stencil. So it's really best to test it out before you hit the wall and make a mess of your house.
So we've put out registration marks already. So what kind of brushes do you recommend using anyways?
It goes a lot faster with these stencil brushes. You could ask for a stencil brush at the paint store. This one's probably 1.5 inches wide, so you can really get a lot done with a bigger brush.
Well,
it's going to go faster.
You don't want to paint all day?
I would love to.
It seems like it would be pretty easy to use too much paint.
It is. A little goes a long way. You're going to get your design filled in, and you might even want like a brushy, dry look to it. So
right.
You might want to go, like if you're going for like a finish, you might want to go a little less on some areas even to give it that like weathered wall look.
I mean, I guess you could always go back and fill some in if you thought it came off a little too light.
You can layer for sure. Okay, now I'm ready to hit the wall with this. We're gonna start at the top left, but the nice thing about having the registration marks on your wall is you can actually jump around and you could not paint in order. Be sure to tape your stencil in place before you paint. This way you're not trying to hold it in place while trying to paint. It'll make your life a lot easier. To the plate that I use. You could use a paper towel as well. And then you can start your wall. I went for a drier look. You can see here.
Oh, amazing.
It has a little distress to it, and if you want to add more to it, you could layer again, but I'm going to go for this dry brush look. And so we can continue to the right, or we could even jump around because now we're set with our reg marks. You can move the tape along with you, just don't tape onto your paint there.
Reg marks is short for registration marks.
Oh, that's a little insider term.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Now you guys are.
You just line them up again. Now that you're in the know. And you're ready to paint again.
You forgetting something?
Oh, my rose?
Yeah. What's the idea here?
I'll show you.
Okay.
Well, since we have our registration marks, I was able to skip around because if you notice, when we start going row by row, our stencils overlap.
Right.
So to avoid some smudging, I skipped rows, and then once these rows dry, we can go back up and go through the other rows.
Okay. This actually looks pretty cool like this too. I guess that would be a different
If
style
you want,
if you wanted it.
that's true. If you want, you can make stripes like this. Want to give it a go?
Yeah.
All right,
Thank
jump
you.
in there.
Let me show you how it's done.
All right.
Oh, see, this is so smart because I could easily have just painted into the reg mark. The tape is key. You don't have to worry about painting into those marks. Ed, you're amazing!
We've got our
Look at
pattern.
this.
We've got our pattern up. Now all we have to do is get rid of the tape and touch up our wall a little bit and get rid of the registration marks if we left any.
I love it. This looks so good.
If you did pencil on your reg marks, they should erase if you used a light pencil. And then if there's any remaining paint, if it bothers you, any mark, you can paint over it a little with your touch-up brush as well. And you're set. So we're done. There you have it. You have the whole wallpaper look on your wall. Took one stencil. The whole book, Stencil101 Decor, is $24.95 by Chronicle Books. Dilo, thank you so much
You're
for helping me today.
welcome.
We
So
got our-
much fun.
Now we gotta hit your house and do it, right?
Well, DIY not, you know? Oh, Ed, I do have one question. Can you stencil this? I mean, this is just on a wall, but can you put the stencils elsewhere? I mean, bags?
Yeah. We are putting the book out as a decor book, but you can still use these stencils to, you know, put them on a t-shirt, put them on a tote bag. And I made you something.
Oh, presents.
Here's your matching little bag. So you can go shopping.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Hug each other.
Of course.